my loves. Hello, hello.
Welcome to the Complete Woman Podcast, a show for women who have become overshadowed by all the titles they possess. I am your host, Coach Toya K, relationship and life coach. Join me and others as we take a look into the real, raw, and uncut reality of being a woman. Superwoman, get ready to take off your cape.
Hello, my loves. Welcome to the Complete Woman Podcast with your girl, Coach Toya K. I am back. I know it's been a while. I know that I've been out of the loop, but I've had a lot of stuff going on, and I will let you guys know on some of that. But between working and having a grandchild, yeah, yes, your girl got a grandchild. If you guys don't know, my gosh, I'm too young to be a grandparent. But hey, here we are. Life has been busy for me, but life has been good. Family is good, husband is good, everything is good. So yeah, I'm excited about the grandbaby. I'm excited about what God is doing. I promise you, all the things that I have going on, the things I have been doing, there is more. There's more coming up. Currently working on Toya's Girl Jam and trying to make it bigger and better. And hopefully I can do a tour of it, but we'll see. I don't want to get too hype about that. But hey, I've been in talks, so we'll see. So I may be coming to a city near you one day. So we'll see. And plus, you guys already know I am an author. If you don't know, I am an author of No More Settling, and that is available through me. I took it off of like Amazon. I don't send people to Amazon for it because it's like a whole hassle with Amazon. But however, and then I have another book that I contributed to. Can't ever remember the name of it, and that's sad. But if you go to if you go to my social media pages or whatever, you should be able to find it. Or you can inbox me or whatever on my social media platforms on Instagram. I'm on TikTok, y'all. I'm trying to do this TikTok thing. I'm trying to learn this thing, trying to get my content up. Your girl is kind of slow to it, but y'all bear with me. If you got tips and ideas, help your girl, because I be lost for real. So today I'm gonna get right into it, and I'm gonna introduce my guest. I have someone very special, someone I have known for years. I think I've known her since she was a little girl. I mean, she's not that much younger than me, but hey, we kind of grew up together. And she is the best friend of my brother. And she is also an author as well. And I let her explain all that and tell you all about that or whatever. So she has some things going and popping and stuff. She has been on a tour as well with her book, and I'm sure she'll be coming to a city near you. We're going to pray about that thing and believe God that that's going to happen. But I want to introduce you all to the Tiffany Lewis. Hi, Tiffany.
Hey, Coach Toya.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much. Even though you're my brother's best friend, you did not have to say yes. So I appreciate that. Thank you for coming on. Thank you for joining me. And I want you to really let the people know what's going on with you, who you are. So introduce the people to Tiffany Lewis.
Thank you. Thank you, Toya, for this, just the opportunity and the platform to be able to share my testimony and share what God has definitely been brewing and stewing in me for a long, long time. Toya, I have known her, like she said, literally all of my life. I am the best friend of her crazy brother. Um,
Crazy.
Zach, Zach and I have been best friends for over 20 years, and we're not just best friends. He is my brother. So I have adopted Toya, little as she know, as my sister.
Yes.
So I thank you so much for this opportunity.
Yes.
As she stated, I am Tiffany Lewis. I am from the Sunshine State of Florida. Duval.
Duval.
Yes. And by way of Dallas, Texas, I moved to Dallas, Texas in 2013. Um, due to a promotion at my job, and God blessed me to be able to move to this great city where everything is big, everything is huge, and I'm thankful for that. Um, as she stated, I am an author. My newest project that I just came out with was in 2020. I came up with, hey, I've been going through so much, in my life. You know how people have journals, right? And they have journals over spans of years of their lives and to just kind of therapeutic. And so I kind of turned my journal into a book, and it turned into, really, it was my testimony. I didn't know for years and years that this journal that I had been writing for so long was actually my testimony. And so I decided to call this testimony No More Silence, because I had been silent about all of the things that I had been going through. And I'm like, hey, it has to be somebody, if it's just one person that can identify with all of the things that I've been going through and that God has brought me out of, I'm pretty sure this could bless somebody. And so this book was not just to share my story for the money, right? It was just to bless people. Some people get into this industry because they love writing. I love writing, but some people get into the industry, I mean, I hate to say it, for the money, but that was not what I wanted to do. I wanted to share my story in a book in hopes that someone can identify with what um, God has brought me out from. So the book is called No More Silence. And she, as a matter of fact, Toya came out with a book called No More Settling. So we both got this no more going on, but it's called No More Silence. And just to kind of give you a brief overview, Toya, if that's okay,
That's fine.
of what it is, just broken up into categories. I talk about depression, I talk about alcoholism, I talk about molestation, I talk about daddy issues, and I talk about the triumphs of my life. Um, it gets really, really hardcore a little bit. People always say, girl, you really, really told your story. Like, you didn't really leave anything out. I think this is my first book, so I believe that I did leave some things out, not purposely, but because when you're writing, it's almost like you want to tell everything, right? But it's almost like that one or two things that you just forget. So as we were at the table, the table read, it was too late to add some of the things in there. So there will be a part two coming soon. Coming soon. I would just like to say that just starting out in the book, your brother did my forward.
Yeah,
And
it was so
man,
good. It was so
man,
good.
man, man. Y'all, if y'all don't know, this is a plug out here. My best friend Zach can write.
Yes,
He has a hidden talent, and
yes,
I really, really hope that one day he will just put himself out there to show the world what type of
absolutely,
talents he has.
absolutely.
It was not, I people always ask me, what made you pick Zach? And I'm like, he's my best friend. He knows all about me. He knows my business. So what better person to ask than Zach? Not
Right.
only did he write my foreword, he is also one of the co-editors of this book.
Yeah.
And I always have to pub him, because that is my heart. He is my heart. So I love you, Zach, if you're watching. The first part of my book, after the foreword, it just pretty much talks about how the devil just did not want me to be here from the beginning, from birth. Mom pretty much wanted to abort me. And I believe if my mama aborted me, people don't even know that she could have aborted a blessing, right? And
Hey,
so mom was sitting on that abortion table, and a lot of people can relate to abortions.
right.
That is the hot topic right now, especially in Texas,
Yeah,
around the world, really. Um, but mom wanted to abort me, and she was on the table about to do it. And she said it was a small voice, a soft voice that came to her, and she was not saved then. She didn't know God, but she said it was a small voice that said, no, she's going to be a blessing. Don't do this. Don't do this. And my mom said she immediately got up because she was in the gown. The stirrups were ready. She was waiting on the doctor to start the procedure. And she said she just couldn't do it. And she ran out of there with the gown on. Can you imagine somebody walking out of an abortion clinic with a gown on? But mama, she said she walked out of there with the gown on. And when my mom told me that story, I was just like, wow, that takes a lot of courage.
Yeah.
Especially in today's society, with our parents being the Christian holy,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? We grew up in a church that, it was just like top tier. People really respected a lot of people in our church that we grew up in. And so to be able for my mom to be able to share that with me, and for me to be able to share her story in this book and tell the world that, it was a lot of people that was like, wow, me too.
Yeah.
And my mom was like, what? A lot of hidden secrets, in church. But she did, and she didn't do it. But she thought about it. And also people also get, I have to, if I tell my story, I have to tell my mom's story because she's a part of me. So when she got pregnant to a married man. She didn't know he was married. And I do talk about that in the book. And that is who is my biological father. She didn't know he was married. Of course, when you get with men, they lie, about their relationship status. That's why my mom is a stickler for young women. If you are dating, plug out here, if you are dating somebody, make sure you get a background check, look them up, make sure they're not married, caught up in nothing. She's a stickler about that. But yeah, she got with my biological father, who was married, who in turn did not want to have anything to do with me. He actually wanted her to get the abortion, but my mom did not do it. So I started out talking about that, and then fast forward to when I was about 10, I believe. I was 10, and I actually had a babysitter. And that babysitter was very close to me. She was actually a church member. And she was my babysitter. And I talk about how when I was in her care, we were all out one day and grocery shopping, me and a church friend of mine, which was her daughter. We were all shopping one day, and it was some other family members that were with us on her side. It was her nephew and a couple of other nieces that were with us. And we were all playing in this big store, and I got molested by one of her nephews. And that was my first encounter with something like that. Like, I was an innocent child. Like, that was my first encounter with something sexual, so I got molested in the middle of a store. And I talk about in the book how I felt at that time and what it felt like. So a lot of people that read my book were like, wow, you really got into like what it felt like. And yeah, I want people to know, what it felt like, what I felt as a child. I felt violated. I felt disgusting. So I talk about that too. I also talk about alcoholism. Yeah, looking at me, you're like, what? You was an alcoholic? Yep, I was an alcoholic. And I'm kind of just rushing through this because I really want you all to
absolutely
really dig into it.
Don't give all of it. They need to buy the book.
Stuff, but buy the book.
Yeah, they need to buy the book. Okay.
And I talk about the alcoholism. I got into a deep, dark depression in college, and I just couldn't control it. That depression led to a coping mechanism, right? A negative coping mechanism. And that is to pick up alcohol. Some people sleep, some people eat. Mine was alcohol. It was days I could not go to sleep without drinking. It was days I couldn't wake up without drinking. And I'm not talking about just lightweight stuff. Like, I'm talking about hard liquor. Browns was my favorite. I know, Toy, you probably wasn't a drinker. I don't know if you were a drinker or
Oh
not,
yes, oh yes,
but
ma'am, I was. I was, and Browns were mine too. So I was.
Browns,
They were.
Browns was
God deliver me though.
yeah, Browns
And
was
I
mine.
wasn't as heavy in it to it like you were, but yeah, I did drink, and Browns
Yeah,
were my
I
choice.
I was heavy into it, and yeah, and so it was to the point where I remember one day I was visiting home, and I talk about it in my book where I almost lost my life, and I could not remember anything that transpired. Um, and at that moment, and I talk about it in detail, so you got to get the book. But at that moment, that's when I knew that I could not do this anymore. And I grew up in church, y'all, so I could hear God,
Yeah,
right? I mean, you can only go so far out when you
yeah,
know God.
absolutely,
You know, you can only go so far.
absolutely.
And so, because of my relationship that I did have with him growing up in church, it was like I heard a still voice, like my mom described when she was on the table getting ready to get an abortion. And that still voice, and I believe to this day, was God who said, "No more. You cannot live like this. I will deliver you." And I promise you, I prayed that night and I told the Lord I didn't want to live like this. And um, I didn't. And God forgave me. I asked God to forgive me. And at that moment, the taste of liquor to that point was away. God went away.
Yeah,
And so,
I want to talk about this since you brought it up again, the still small voice. And I want people to understand, a lot of people say something told me I knew I shouldn't have, and it's like that small voice you don't listen to, and it warns you or it says something to you. And sometimes you're like, I don't know, let me see, like they say, let me see for myself. But a lot of times God is trying to save you from seeing it for yourself,
yeah,
so he'll send a message, even if you have to send it through somebody else, even if you have to send it through something else. He sends a message to you to stop you from being in the predicament that you're about to be in and are in the predicament that you're already in. So to listen to that is really a bold and courageous thing to do, because it's like some people, if you tell them, oh, I heard a small voice, they're like, what, girl? Okay. But but at the end of the day, it saved your life. At the end of the day, it had your mom to keep you. At the end of the
mm-hmm,
day, God had a purpose, God had a plan. And we
yes,
don't always know that. But if we
mm-hmm,
listen to that, oh, something told me voice, then we could save ourselves a lot of headache. And the same thing happened with me. When I prayed to God, people say it to this day, they were like, you don't drink? You don't do. I said, no, I don't. And they be like, so you have 4 children and you're married, and I know all will stress you out, and you got all this other stuff going on. You don't drink. I was like, no, because when I asked God to deliver me, He delivered me. The taste was gone, and I just don't desire it. Now I have every now and then in the past, I've had a little sip of something fruity or
yeah.
something
I'm
like
not
that.
perfect. I'm not
Yeah,
perfect. I'm
but
not
I like I used to. No, I
right.
don't do. No, I don't. I
Exactly.
don't have a desire for it. I really
Exactly.
don't. And people be like, I just and no, I don't. And it's nothing to say that it's something wrong with you because you do. It's just that God took that desire from me, And I hear people say, well, I don't want God to do that for me. Well, hey, that that ain't on me. God knows what I needed to do for my life. So that's what happened. And so we have to understand when God be looking out for us, even when we don't want him to, even when we haven't
Yes.
asked him to, he
Yes.
looks out for us. So that
Yes.
is very powerful what you're saying about, that small, still voice and plus the other stuff you're saying, because this book can help women. It can help all people, but it really can help women and for women to get their power back. So
Yes.
you sharing the details of stuff, that is the thing that we need. That is the thing that women need to start doing, because like you say, no more silence. Too many of us have been silent. Too
Yes.
many of us feel like we can't say stuff. We feel like we're not going to be believed. We feel like we're not going to be heard. We feel like we're going to be judged. We feel like we're going to be shamed. And we keep a lot of stuff in. And guess what? That doesn't help the people behind us, because when it happens to us, it's happening to someone else. So we
Amen.
have to keep that in mind, that at some point we're going to have to, and to get free from it, we have to be able to be open and honest about what happened to us so that we can move on with it. So I'm the same way, girl. In my book, No More Settling, they was like, "Oh, you told," and I said the same thing. I don't think I told enough. It need to be a part two. It need to be a part two. And she's so right.
Yes.
When she came out with the book, and I saw this the title, I said, "Oh, okay," because I had No More Settling. And then
Right.
when I read this book, and I'm gonna let you continue talking about whether the book or whatever, but I have to
No, go
make this
ahead.
point. When I read the book, she came out with this book when around the time I was diagnosed with stage 1 cervical cancer.
Mhm.
And one night I was up, couldn't sleep, wasn't feeling well, and all of that. And I read this book in one night and it was so good. And I'm not even hyping nobody up because I don't do that unless it need to be hyped. Okay. So I literally messaged her in the middle of the night.
I
Okay. And I
remember.
said, yes, I said middle because it was the
Yes,
middle of the
it
night.
was.
I messaged her, and I don't usually bother people at those
Yes.
hours. But I said, girl, now wait a minute. This book, and I have
Yes.
literally known this girl her whole life. This book, this book is so good, and I cannot believe that most of this stuff happened to you. Oh my God, I'm so grateful that you were open with your story and that you told the truth and da 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 da. And then when I heard some, I said, "Hey, too, where they at so I can find them? I need to know so you can let me know. See, I need to find whoever tried you." But
Yes.
but it's so good, and it helps.
Thank you.
It is going to help and has helped so many people. So if you have not gotten the book, get this book. I'm telling you, from someone who is not easily impressed. Okay, I'm not easily impressed. There are celebrities and people that are well known that have done stuff, and I'd be like, all right. But
Right.
this book, I literally stayed up all night reading that book, and I literally was just like blown away. And I was so glad that you took the time and you had the courage to be silent no more.
Yes, and that's the key word, courage, because man, like you said, I there was a little bit of fear, and I'm not gonna lie,
Absolutely.
we're human, right? And so when
Absolutely.
I want to go back to the alcoholism, God took the desire to have it all like that.
Right. Right,
I'm
right,
not
right.
saying I don't pick up,
Right.
some wine every now and then or whatever,
Right.
but I'm talking about that I gotta
I
have it,
gotta have
that
it.
to
Yes.
cope. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And I appreciate that. But the courage. Yes, it was courage. God gave me the courage because I was fearful at first. Cause I'm like, what
Absolutely.
if people judge me? I'm thinking about,
Absolutely.
but it wasn't until one night that the Lord said, I gave you this testimony. You cannot be silent. You got to tell the story. You got to tell it because if you don't tell it, then people are not going to be able to say, well, me too.
Yeah.
I want to tell my
Yeah.
story. You will be able
Yeah.
to influence people to be able to
Absolutely.
be free because people can
Absolutely.
put you on a pedestal. I'm telling you, I don't know if it's because of how I carry myself or I don't know, but it's almost like my mom says, almost like you on this pedestal, and I don't ever want to be
Right.
known to be that way. Like, you know how people can say, girl, I never thought you would go through all of that. Never, you this, you that.
Mhm.
No, I went
Yeah.
through some real stuff.
Yeah.
And I wanted people to know this. This book, like you stated, is real. It's raw. It's uncut. From the beginning to the end.
Yes, ma'am.
I wanted it to be a attention seeker from the beginning. Like soon as
Yes,
when you
ma'am.
pick it up, you dig it in, right?
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
I don't like me, I'm a reader and I don't like long reads. It's a short read. It's quick, fast. I'm
Yeah.
telling my testimony and I'm out of there.
Yeah.
So please, please get the book as she stated, and we'll talk about how you can get the book in a minute. But I talked about the molestation and then daddy issues. It's so many of us
Yes.
in the community that
Yes.
were raised without fathers.
Yeah.
Raised with, and if you had a father in the house, he might be working so much, he's not in the
Right.
house. He's not
Yeah.
attentive. He's
Right.
so involved in trying to provide for the family.
Right.
He is not attentive. And
Right.
so my biological father has never been there. But my mom did marry someone who I identify as my father. And there is no step in that. There is no nothing. Like, he is my father. And I talk about even our relationship.
Yeah.
How he, he was there for me, but he wasn't really consistent either. And
Yeah.
so I talk about that. Then I talk about my mom's other husband, who I talk about as my stepfather, who did some things or whatever that kind of made me think differently about men as well. So I talk about that. And so those three men, you're talking about my biological father, the father who I identify as my father, and my stepfather, they made me have some daddy issues, which in turn affected my relationships
Absolutely.
with men. And so I get into the story of a relationship that I had with my first love, and how it was emotionally and verbally abusive. And so having those daddy issues can somehow directly affect your decisions in choosing, right?
Absolutely.
And so I chose a lot of men in my life that were abusive, you know what I'm saying, because of the void that I had, of the daddy issues that I experienced, of the rejection. You can walk in rejection and choose out of rejection.
Yeah.
The men that you choose can be out of what you went through, out of rejection. So that was my life for years. So I talk about that. And then I talk about my dad, who I identify as my father's passing, how that affected me, and how I went through a deep, dark depression on that. And I talk about my triumphs. I mean, it's kind of, the book is not all sad. It ain't all.
It's a mixture of all of it.
It's a mixture of everything. And I
victories
talk about
and losses.
Exactly. And I talk about just how my journey of getting to Dallas, Texas, and my promotions and all of that. Get the book, y'all.
Just get the book.
Just get the book. It's No More Silence. And I want all of your listeners to know, Toya, that to encourage them to tell their story, because you never know who needs to hear it, right? Tell your own story so it won't be distorted by others. Don't play telephone. Tell your own.
Tell your story so nobody else can rewrite it.
Exactly. Tell your own story. And that's exactly what I did. And so I was nervous coming on this thing here. I can talk for days to my friends, but when it comes to like the lights, camera, action is on me, I'm like, I don't know. And although I've been knowing her forever, y'all, like, I'm still like, listen, nervous. But just get the book. You can get the book on my website, www.nomoresilences with an S at the end.com, or you can get it on Amazon, preferably get it on my website, www.nomoresilences.com. The book is $19.99. I also have some other treats on my website that you can purchase as well. I have this nice little shirt that you can wear. I thought about, what do people like to do when they're reading books? So if you like to drink coffee, you can get a coffee mug, you can get a wine glass, you can get the book and a t-shirt. So that's my testimony in a nutshell. Did I cover everything?
Yeah, you covered everything. And it's still like you didn't cover, so the people are going to have to get the book. If anything, if you hear what she's saying and what I have said, you would want to get this book. Don't sleep on it. I'm telling you, for real, for real. I would not lie to y'all. And like she said, if my listeners have not learned anything about me, listen, speak your truth,
Yes.
tell your story. Your
Yes.
story doesn't look like anybody else's story. What you went through is important. What you went through matters.
Yes.
Um, don't hold back, because and this is what I want to share too, and it's just really dropped in my spirit. Don't hold back to cover up for someone else. Don't hold back to protect anyone else.
Mm.
Because someone told me something that was so key. And at the time when they said it, I was like, wow, but at the same time was kind of still kind of hesitant. They said if they wanted to be protected, they would have never done it in the first place.
Mm.
So don't don't protect people.
That's
Don't
real.
protect. Listen, don't hold back. Don't protect. And what I have learned about people is that when they get ready to tell their side of the story, they'll tell it. So, if for nothing else, that and it's not for the sake of other people only, if nothing else, is to free you so you won't
Yes.
be bound anymore. Because the
Anymore.
more you hold that stuff in, the more you're bound, the more you're handcuffed to that. And you don't want that. You don't want to have those sleepless nights. You don't want to be crying and upset. And every time you see them, they make you mad. Don't let people have that power. Don't let people have that power, because those people, they're going on with their life and could care less about what they did to you. You have to release them, and don't wait around for an apology, because they may never give it to you and you
Yeah.
may never get closure.
Yes.
So it's so many things I've had to get over without the other person even having a conversation with me, because some people just don't see the wrong in what they do.
That's true.
So just be real, because you never, 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 never know. You never know. I've had so many people come to me when I've shared stuff about my life. People have come to me and like, oh my God, what? Huh? I need you to help me. I need da, da, da. Sure, because I was able to open my mouth. And that does not mean that while I was telling you, I wasn't scared. I was probably still scared when I'm telling you, but I had to get it out. So I'm
Yes.
so grateful that people like Tiffany are writing these books and doing these things to help other people, especially women, out, because
Yes.
we do need it. We need all the support we can get. We need all the help we can get. And we need to understand that we don't need men to help us be who we are created to be. We don't need that. I mean, it's great to have that, but we don't need that. And I want women to know that you only the only they only control what you let them control. And that's
Yes.
anybody across the board. They only control what you let them control. When you learn that, you'll be so free. When you learn you don't owe anybody anything, you'll be
Nothing.
so free. So,
Yes.
like I say, get the book. I'm
Get the
going.
book.
The link is in the caption. So you can be able to click that and go get the book and any of
Oh,
her merch that she has. You'll be
yes.
able to get that as well. Make sure you support, support, support. We gotta support each other all
We do.
day, every day. We gotta support each other.
And honey,
Um,
Toya was listen, Toya supports. When she support. When I
I do
tell
try.
you she is a supporter. So I
Thank you.
tell you, thank you so much just for again allowing me to be on this platform. This book is not only just a testament of my testimony, but a testament of the power of forgiveness. To
Yes,
forgive others and to forgive not only others, forgive you.
yes,
Forgive yourself. Because if you
yes.
can't forgive yourself, you
Forgive
ain't, I mean,
yourself.
you got to forgive
Forgive
yourself.
yourself.
And
That's so true.
so it's a testament of that. No more silence. Tell your own story so it won't be distorted by others. And forgive yourself and forgive others. And so that is a testament of this book. And I appreciate this platform because it's been a long time. I have really been kind of focusing on No More Silence, but kind of focusing a little bit more on how I can go on tour. And she did state that I had been on tour. I did go to Jacksonville, Florida, my hometown. And y'all came out for me, y'all. Y'all listen. Duval.
Yep,
Y'all
we were
came
in the
out.
building.
Y'all came out to support. And then, of
Yes,
course, when the book launched, it was here in Dallas. And so I'm hoping to, I'm planning to, right now, we're planning in the planning phase is to be in Atlanta very soon. And so that will be the next city. And so I just want to go on these book tours and just share my story. Also, I also believe that when you have one book that you write, it's always another book in you. And so
absolutely.
and then books and books to come. So I
Yes,
am working on strategizing and asking God to give me the proper strategy to be able to get this part two out very soon, because there were some things that I kind of skimmed over a little bit in this book that I want to get into a little bit in detail on the second book, because there is a part two of my life that I want to share that I just
yeah.
felt like it was not right to share in this introduction of this book. So like she said, go and get the book. Thank you so much for this opportunity. Zach, I love you. If you're listening, that's my best friend. I love you.
And speaking of that, so as she said, she is best friends with my brother. So there has been a lot of conversation about men and women being friends. And you guys clearly have shown that that can be the case. So, what is your take? I mean, obviously, you know it can happen, but let the people in on why men and women can be friends.
Men and women can be friends. First of all, there's boundaries, right? You know,
Absolutely.
boundaries not just on the friendship take, but Zach knows if I'm in a relationship, he knows, okay, I ain't gonna call my friend at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning. She's in a relationship. There are boundaries,
Yeah.
right? And so people have to respect that their friends' relationships, their friends' schedules, all of that.
Yes.
But as it relates to men and women, yeah, you can definitely be friends with the opposite sex because of boundaries, right?
Yeah.
And then you have to know, especially if I'm talking about a relationship, right? If you're in a relationship, I like for my best friend and the person that I'm involved with to meet,
Yes.
because my best friend is gonna
Absolutely.
tell me. My best friend
Abs
is gonna
because Zach
tell
gonna
me
tell. Because Zach
from
gonna
a
tell.
male's perspective.
Because Zach
Nah, sis,
definitely gonna tell you.
that ain't it.
That ain't
That ain't
it.
it. He ain't it. I'm sorry. That's not it. And so that's why I like having the opposite sex of friends, especially from a male to get the male
That
perspective
is
that
so,
I
that's a
wouldn't.
good point that you make. I never really thought about that part of it because that is good to have. Because
Mhm.
I have a lot of male friends. I don't have any male best friend, but I have a lot of male friends, and I do go to them. Well, when I was single, I did go to them and be like, hey, and I still sometimes go to them because even with me being married to a man, I need y'all help because I'm not a
Mm.
man. So I don't understand him all the time. So y'all help me. Is this normal? Like, is this okay? Does this make sense? And they always help it make sense for me. And one of those people is my brother. Like my brother, I can call him and I'd be like, hey, this and that, and he'll make it make sense for me. So that is so good. Like that makes sense. It's good to have a male in your life that's maybe outside of your dad or your brother or somebody like that you're able to, and they can keep it real with you. And that's how I learned about men all from growing up. I used to hang around boys growing up and everything. That's how I learned about men because I would pay attention to them. So that is a good point.
And
See,
if
that's why I
anybody,
asked the question because that's a
and if
good point.
and if anybody know her brother, he is hilarious. He is
Listen,
a
and don't
drama
care.
king,
He
and he
don't
does
care.
not care. But there is a serious side of him.
Yes,
He
absolutely.
gives awesome advice.
He does.
Like
He
if
does.
like that is people don't understand that. Like he's silly, goofy, will
Yes,
make you laugh, but he is a great friend that gives awesome
he does.
sound advice.
Sound advice.
Not just
Yes,
that little, he gives sound
he
advice,
really
not to
does.
just give you something and just get off my phone, off my
He really
line. Like
does.
he gives you sound advice. So even with that, that's good to have a male friend, especially
Yeah,
a male perspective,
right,
setting boundaries,
right,
for that relation, for that
right,
friendship. And also somebody that can just give you some sound advice and
right.
and not I don't even know if my men in the past have contacted Zach to get advice on
Yes,
me.
that could have been a thing. Because
Maybe.
I have
I don't
found out
know.
later in life that my husband has done that even with my female friends. And they be like, yeah, me and Devin had a conversation. I'm like, what? So that is so key. And what you said about boundaries, that goes for male and female
Yes.
because the crazy thing is I'm best friends with her cousin who is named Tiffany as well.
Yes.
And we have been friends since we were little girls. And one thing about it, she is so crazy. She set the boundaries. She was like, hey,
Mm.
your husband does, so I'll talk to you later. She'd be like,
Mm.
hey, I'm gonna let you spend time with your husband. I'll talk to you later. She doesn't call me like you say them late night hours and all that kind of stuff. Even though she's a female and there's nothing to be concerned about, she
Right.
still understands you're married. So let
Right.
me not do that. So that is so key for people to have boundaries. And a lot of times when people have been friends with people for a long time or whatever amount of time, they don't understand that when somebody gets in a relationship, hey,
Mhm.
that doesn't mean that they're choosing that person over you. It's just, hey, we have to have boundaries out of respect for my relationship so I
Yes.
can build this relationship because I'm not going to be able to build the relationship if you always on my line or in my face. Like I'm always coming to see about you. When I'm going to spend time with my mate, when I'm going to be able to get to know them, when I'm going to invest time and energy into them. So
Right.
you got to know those boundaries, and that's
Right.
okay,
Right.
and people have to understand that that is okay. So see, I knew. See, I asked the question,
Well, that
and
was a
hopefully
great
that'll
question.
help y'all out there. What she said, I hope that helps y'all because there's been a lot of conversation about men and women being friends, and I honestly don't see a problem with
I
it.
don't either.
And unless you're just somebody and you got to know you. If
Right.
you just don't have self-control and
Mm-hmm.
it's that serious, and let me help you with all this same sex stuff going on, it
Right.
goes for same sex too. Because some of
Mm-hmm.
y'all fall into relationships thinking y'all supposed to be with them and stuff like that. So hey, it goes both ways for me.
Mm-hmm.
And it's
Mm-hmm.
so you can easily fall in love and say you want to be with somebody who's of the same sex. So
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know,
Mm-hmm.
who knows? So yeah, that was a good question. So last question for you. What makes you a complete woman?
Who? What makes me a complete woman is um being authentically me,
That's good.
staying true to who I am,
Yes.
right? Authenticity is something that can go a long way,
Yeah.
right? If you stay true to who you are and be authentic,
Yes.
that's completion right there. Cause you
Yeah.
ain't worrying about
Yes.
nobody
So
got to say.
true.
You who you are, right?
Right.
And so I think that just with that, just being who I am,
Yeah.
authentically Tiffany Lewis.
I love that. That's so true. That's
That's
so
it.
good.
I mean, I don't
Ooh,
have
y'all. I know I be saying Toya Nuggets, but Tiffany Nuggets have been flowing on this good podcast, honey. She been dropping the nuggets for y'all. That's so
yes,
good. That's
yes.
so
Thank you
good. Thank you.
so
Thank you.
much,
Thank
Toya. Oh
you.
my God, you're the sweetest, 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 sweetest. Me and my mom
Thank
always talk
you.
about you. We always talk about your family and just
Oh, I
yes,
love your
everybody,
mom. Your mom is great. I love
everybody,
your mom.
everybody. Thank you again for this opportunity. I love you, Toya.
I love you too, love. Thank you so much for coming on and being with me
Thank you.
today. And guys, like I said, check the link out in the caption to see how to get her book and her merchandise. Also on social media, what are your names on social media for the guy if they want to follow you or linked up on social
Yes.
media?
On social media, you can follow me on Facebook, Tiffany Lewis. You can follow me on No More Silence on Facebook. You can follow me on No More Silence 04 on Instagram. Um, I am also on, you can go on my website, www.nomoresilences.com.
Okay. So also I would have that should be in the caption or the whatever they call it. It'll be a description. That's it. It'll be
Right.
there as well. Those handles and everything. All of the information will be there as well, so you guys can link up, follow her, inbox her if you
Yes.
guys want. And if you want her to come to your city with her tour, let her know.
Yes.
Hey,
No
we
more
don't
silence.
know until you let us know sometimes. So let her
Yes.
know if you want her to come to your city with her book.
Please. And I
um
will.
yes, 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 because we taking this worldwide. What can it say? I'm worldwide.
Bye. Baby, she ain't playing.
Listen, I love me some Candy, but that's a whole nother conversation. I
Another
mean, I
conversation.
love her business wise. I don't
Right, right,
really, but
right,
that because
right.
that baby know how to make money. Okay, so
Yes. Yeah, we all,
um,
I pray that all of us, me, you, anybody that's in this
absolutely,
business is booked and busy, right? Booked
and
and
paid.
busy.
Add that and paid because they like
And
to book you and not pay you.
listen, hey,
Okay, that's a whole nother. I don't get me started. Who China? Breathe, Toya, because that's a hot topic for me. Woo, woo.
yes, yes, yes.
But again, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Tiffany, thank you so much, guys, for listening and watching. Make sure you subscribe, make sure you like, make sure you comment, make sure you follow or whatever. And you can find me on social media on Instagram. I am Coach Toya K, and on TikTok as well. And on Facebook, I'm Latoya Kite. And I also have a brand page, Latoya Shante Kite. I also have that, and a group called The Complete Woman as well on Facebook. So you can go to any one of those and link up with me. You can inbox me or whatever you want to book me. You can do that as well. And you can email me at thecompletewoman19@gmail.com to book me. And if you want to be on Talks with Toya, you can definitely do that as well. So thank you guys again. And until next time, goodbye, my love.
Everybody.